My name is Owen Thorne, and I'd like to welcome you to a place of quiet wonder where the hush of a moonlit forest will guide you toward deep rest. Tonight's story is a gentle journey into a hidden woodland glade, celebrating Earth's Day of Harmony alongside a kindly forest nymph. So get cozy, breathe in the soft night air, and allow your body and mind to settle into a comforting stillness. Take a moment to notice how you are resting and let yourself sink deeper into the warmth of your bed. Inhale the lightness of your surroundings, feeling the breath expand your chest. Exhale slowly, releasing any tension that weighs on you. Imagine for just a moment that you can hear a serene melody in the distance, like a faint lullaby carried on a breeze. It might feel as though your worries float away with each gentle breath. As you continue breathing in and out, your eyelids grow heavier, and you sense the tender hush that the evening sky brings. Soft flecks of moonlight drift around you in your imagination, dissolving all the day's cares. The world feels tranquil and unhurried, as if time itself has slowed to a blissful calm. Here, surrounded by the lull of night, you are invited into a realm where ancient trees whisper their secrets, and the earth itself hums with a quiet, familiar music. In the moments ahead, you will discover a woodland nymph's lullaby, a story woven from gentle enchantment and nature's warm embrace. Now, let your breath remain steady, slow and calm as we begin our peaceful tale. In a tucked-away corner of an ancient forest, there once stood a rare and lovely grove where sunlight filtered through high branches in delicate, shifting patterns. Lichens in subtle shades of green grew upon the heavy trunks, their presence so understated that most travelers might walk past without ever noticing. The soil beneath was soft, and the ferns that curled at the bases of the trees felt cool to the touch. This secret place was known only to the forest's peaceful creatures and certain kind-hearted souls who found solace in nature's hidden wonders. In this world of whispering leaves and blossoming wildflowers lived a woodland nymph named Fionnuala. She had eyes the shade of fresh spring buds and hair woven with tiny blossoms, like an ever-changing crown of wild beauty that mirrored the forest's moods. A light aura trailed behind her as she moved, a faint shimmer akin to morning dew catching first light. Her footfalls were silent, the grass scarcely bent beneath her gentle steps, as though the earth welcomed her with gratitude. Among the trees, Fionnuala was a silent guardian. She often drifted along winding trails to check on clusters of fragile new sprouts peeking through the moss, or paused to hum soft melodies that stirred the leaves into a kindly rustle. Birds would gather in her wake, learning short, lilting phrases from her songs to carry them beyond the borders of the wood. Small woodland animals, mice, rabbits, and shy foxes found comfort in her presence, knowing she would offer nothing but a kind smile and quiet protection. Every year, when Earth's Day of celebration arrived, a day dedicated to harmony and renewal, Fionnuala quietly prepared a lullaby meant not only for the forest, but for every gentle heart across the land. The tradition was ancient, older than even the massive oaks that spread their branches to the skies above. Deep in her heart, she believed that music held the power to ease the burdens of creatures large and small, reminding them that they were never alone. As daylight slowly waned, the forest glowed with soft gold and pink, draping the grove in a dreamy hush. Warm breezes drifted lazily among the leaves, while distant birds sang the last notes of the evening. In the center of the grove stood a ring of great pines, their tall silhouettes reminiscent of silent sentinels guarding the woodland realm. They arched overhead, forming a natural cathedral of green, where faint sunbeams still wove down to the mossy carpet below. In that space, at the heart of the old-growth trees, a gentle swirl of magic lingered, a promise of peace and renewal. When the shadows lengthened and the forest air turned cool and sweet, Fionnuala emerged onto the soft, moss-laden floor. Her eyes shone with devotion to the land she protected. She stepped up to a smooth rock that rose like a small dais, adorned by centuries of emerald moss. Closing her eyes, she reached out to the forest with a single deep breath, drawing in the earthy scent of pine needles and the faint perfume of night-blooming flowers. A calm washed over her, as though the forest itself acknowledged her silent greeting. Every detail in this hidden place was alive with subtle shimmer. Tiny clusters of fairy lights, invisible to most, danced in the air. If one were to gaze upon them, they might see spots of luminescence flickering like gentle stars. They drifted around her shoulders, weaving through her flowery hair as though celebrating her presence. From the corner of the glade, a hush fell, as even the creatures nestled among the roots grew still. They knew the lullaby was soon to begin. Fionnuala sang not with words, but with tones that threaded themselves into the tapestry of the forest. Her voice was a flowing, luminous sound that soothed without needing meaning. It was as if the woodland spirit awakened, adding subtle harmonies, rustles in the leaves, twitters from small birds, and the light hum of forest insects. Together, these tones curled into the breeze like a promise, a vow of safety and belonging. The song seemed to gently stretch out in all directions, reaching beyond the thick, ancient trunks and weaving its way to every corner of the natural world. With this lullaby, she invited each living creature to remember its place in a wider harmony. As Fionnuala's song continued, a soft glow began to coalesce at the edge of the clearing. Pale silver lights, akin to moonbeams, gathered in delicate arcs between the towering pines. And from that glow, little ephemeral shapes emerged, forest spirits so faint and delicate they were nearly invisible. They gathered as if forming an audience, drifting close to the edges of the rock where Fionnuala stood. Though they made no sound, an aura of peaceful reverence emanated from them, as though they had waited all year to glimpse and hear this special lullaby. When the nymph's voice quieted, the forest seemed to hold its breath. A gentle hush followed. In that quiet, the forest dwellers felt a blanket of calm settle upon them, The lullaby had not ended, but took a moment of stillness to honor the night's hush. As evening deepened, a soft breeze ran its fingers through the highest treetops, carrying away any lingering restlessness in the woodland hearts. It was a time to reflect on the day, to be present, and to accept nature's gift of rest. Gradually, a silver moon crested the horizon, peering between the dense canopy. Its beams poured onto the mossy clearing, painting everything in a pale, luminous wash. Fionnuala stepped down from her mossy perch, her movements tranquil and measured, as if she sensed that some benevolent presence had joined them. In the hush of moonlight, one could almost see the faint glimmer of the nymph's footprints, like the trail of a quiet comet. Slowly, a tall figure took shape at the perimeter, a wise old stag with antlers wrapped in vine and flowers. He moved quietly, gazing about with dark, gentle eyes. Drawn by Fionnuala's lullaby, the stag approached her, each step placed thoughtfully on the velvety moss. Without fear or caution, Fionnuala extended a hand. The stag bowed his head, allowing her to brush her fingers across his silken fur. At that moment, a tranquil bond was recognized between them. Both guardians of this forest, each dedicated in a different yet harmonious way. No words were exchanged, none were needed. Instead, the stag lowered itself to rest among the thick ferns at the base of a mighty oak. The movement was slow, deliberate, and full of an ancient dignity. Settling there, he closed his eyes, lulled by the memory of the gentle lullaby he had just heard. Quietly, Fionnuala knelt at his side, stroking the soft fur behind his ears, letting the rhythmic rise and fall of the stag's breathing guide her own. Their two pulses merged with the forest's greater heartbeat, that subtle thrumming that one could sense in the hush of the nighttime wood. A gentle hush enveloped the clearing once more. Moths, drawn by moonlight, fluttered around in lazy circles, their wings shimmering with faint patterns. Tiny dewdrops clung to the slender grass, reflecting little pinpricks of moonlit brilliance. Overhead, a canopy of leaves shifted softly, weaving a tapestry of motion and stillness. In this realm of leaf and sky, it was as if time had slowed, allowing the simple miracle of the present moment to envelop all who breathed within it. Soon, the hush in the clearing was joined by a fragile sound, like the tiptoe of small feet along a hidden path. Out from under a drooping willow, a family of rabbits emerged. They advanced timidly, their eyes full of wonder, lured by the gentle aura of the nymph and the comforting presence of the old stag. One by one, they settled in a half circle near the mossy stone, their soft ears twitching as though they could still hear the lullaby echoing in the air. A breeze drifted through the branches, carrying a faint reminder of Fionnuala's melody. Moved by the hush and the unity of forest creatures, she began to hum once more, softer this time, as if singing a final lullaby for the small animals who had gathered to rest. Beneath the moonlight, her voice shimmered in slow, undulating waves, reaching into the hearts of those who listened. The lullaby was a comforting whisper, reminding them of the gentle turning of the seasons and the forest's constant renewal. In that moment, each creature closed its eyes. The night breathed. A quiet rain of blossoms fell from the tips of the overhead branches, draping the rabbits in fragrant petals and dusting the stag's antlers with pastel confetti. A subtle hush of magic danced among these petals, as though the forest itself were softly singing along, urging everyone to take shelter in the calm. And with the collective exhalation of every being, tension unwound like a coiled ribbon, gently letting go. As Fionuala's lullaby carried across the forest, it reached even the most hidden corners, places where the river carved secret grottos into ancient stone, where foxes trotted in shadows on soft paws, where owls nestled in hollow trunks with half-lidded eyes. The lullaby lulled them into gentle dozing, mindful that this night was sacred. The moonlight seemed to ripple and glow in deeper waves, illuminating new growth and revealing how each leaf, each shoot of grass, each creature was part of a living tapestry. The entire forest felt the unity. The tradition of Earth's Day of Harmony was not only about celebration, it was also about remembering that every twig, every droplet of dew, and every shimmering petal had a place in the mosaic of existence. Through Fionuala's lullaby, each being was softly reminded that they belonged. Each was a cherished note in nature's grand symphony. At that point, a cluster of night-blooming flowers opened their petals to the sky, releasing a fragrance reminiscent of honey and fresh dew. The aroma swirled in the clearing, weaving seamlessly with the subtle echo of the nymph's lullaby. Wrapped in this heady perfume, the forest's inhabitants began to drift into a peaceful slumber. Their eyelids grew heavy, and their bodies relaxed into the soft cradle of moss and fern. In the quiet lull, fireflies blinked into life, dotting the shadows with tiny lanterns of gold. Their soft glow pulsed in time with the calming hush of the night. Each pulse of light seemed to mirror the slow, steady rhythm of breathing among the dozing creatures. Thus, the clearing transformed into a gentle tapestry of sleeping shapes and glowing orbs, illuminated from above by the serene moon. In that moment, all was balanced. The forest pulsed with life, yet all was at rest. If anyone wandering the night happened upon this place, they would have felt the tender hush seeping into their own hearts, easing away any trace of worry or fatigue. The lullaby persisted as a serene hum in the background, so faint it was almost the hush between heartbeats. To listen to it was to remember the simple joy of existing in a world that breathed and glowed with quiet wonder. Somewhere, in the middle of this harmonious stillness, the moon crept higher into the vast sky. Stars began to pop through the velvety darkness, little pearly flickers that seemed to watch over the sleeping forest. Even the gentle rustle of nocturnal creatures in the underbrush felt unhurried, as if the entire woodland recognized this unique moment of peace. Nothing hurried, nothing strained. The forest existed in perfect accord, lulled by the memory of a nymph's voice and the stillness of the Earth Day night. At length, Fionuala rose from her place beside the old stag. She took a step back, surveying the scene with tender, drowsy gratitude. She saw the rabbit sleeping in curled lumps of soft fur, the stag breathing deeply in the hush of his regal slumber, and the gentle flicker of fireflies above. An affectionate smile touched her lips. Her lullaby had done its work. The hush was complete, a delicate hush that promised to cradle the woodland realm until dawn. The nymph moved quietly toward the silvered edge of the clearing, her skirt of moss and blossoms trailing in the soft dew. A hush of starlight fell over her, wrapping her in silver. She appeared nearly weightless as she left the small gathering, stepping carefully so as not to disturb those who slept so deeply. She ventured deeper into the forest, following an ancient path that meandered between thick trunks and climbing ivy, between hidden hollows and gently sloping hills of ferns. As she walked, the lingering strains of her lullaby spread, carried on breezes through the valleys of the woodland. Small streams reflected moonlight onto stones that glistened with a gentle glow. Frogs in the distance sang a hushed refrain, a natural chant that blended with the lullaby's echo. Crickets harmonized in delicate chirps, weaving subtle rhythms that complemented the hush. The entire forest seemed to join in Earth's day of harmony, acknowledging its blessings in this shared lullaby. Eventually, Fionnuala arrived at another glade, smaller yet no less enchanting. A hidden pond ringed by reeds and water lilies. The surface mirrored the moon above, forming a perfect circle of silvery light. The nymph knelt by the water's edge, cupping her hands to splash her face and arms. Cool droplets trickled down her skin, and she closed her eyes, letting the stillness seep into her bones. The water, enchanted by the lullaby, gleamed with a faint brilliance, as if starlight itself had chosen to rest on its surface. When she looked down at her reflection, she saw the quiet contentment shining in her own eyes. Here, in the hush of the night, she could be simply part of the whole. No guardianship weighed upon her. She was one with the forest's peace. As she tilted her head upward, tiny wisps of cloud drifted across the moon, trailing ribbons of faint silver behind them. She let her breath match the pace of those clouds, slow and unhurried. She lingered in that serene place, lulled by her own lullaby. Even time, it seemed, had fallen asleep. Hours passed, but they felt like an eternal, comforting moment. In the distance, owls softly hooted, marking some intangible shift in the night. Yet, it was a shift so gentle that nothing stirred or awoke. The hush was undisturbed, and in that hush, the forest and its creatures cocooned themselves in sweet rest. When the night neared its deepest point, a gentle glow signaled the nearing of dawn, a faint line of pale silver along the horizon. Slowly, the sky would lighten, but that was still some time away. The forest would remain in slumber for a while longer. Under that starry canopy, the hush reigned, pure, infinite, and deeply soothing. Fionnuala's lullaby, though now silent to the ear, still reverberated in the spirit of every living thing. It had become a part of the forest itself, woven into each leaf and breath. In the fullness of that tranquility, one could imagine the earth breathing in delicate pulses, renewing itself in the stillness. The memory of the lullaby lingered like a soft echo, a promise that when the sun rose, the forest would greet the new day in harmony and gratitude. The older trees, with roots running deep into rich soil, soaked in that promise, storing it for future days. The younger saplings drank in the hush, letting it guide them in their slow, steady growth. Everything was nurtured, everything sustained. Thus passed the hours of the annual Earth Day harmony in this secret part of the forest, under the watchful glow of the moon and stars. The night was a gentle dream, from which no one wished to wake. In the hush, troubles melted away, replaced by a calm knowledge that all was as it should be. The earth in this place was at peace, a symphony of unity played in silence. At length, the moon drifted down the far side of the sky, and the first faint brush of dawn touched the tops of the tallest pines. A hush of silver turned to soft pastel hues of pink and lavender, painting the horizon in gentle strokes. The night's curtain slowly lifted, revealing a new morning that was as serene as the hours that had preceded it. But even as light spread through the forest, most creatures stayed at rest, soothed by the lullaby's power and the knowledge that they were safe and loved. Fionuala rose from her spot by the pond, feeling the soft, cool breeze of dawn against her skin. There was a warmth in her heart, a sense of quiet fulfillment. She listened for the forest's pulse, a tranquil thrum that signaled harmony had been restored for now. This was the yearly rite she held so dear. On Earth's day of celebration, the lullaby brought renewal, reminding every living soul of their bond with the land. Slowly, she made her way back along the quiet path toward the clearing. A gentle light filtered through the canopy, forming little patches of dawn's glow upon the mossy ground. She glided as if carried by that light, stepping over gnarled roots and around clusters of ferns. When she arrived at the clearing, she discovered that the stag had already departed, leaving behind the imprint of his body in the soft grass. The rabbits, too, had vanished into the thicket, returning to their cozy burrows. But a profound stillness remained, a testament to the hush that had reigned through the night. The moss, now glistening with morning dew, sparkled as if the stars had come down to rest upon it. The clearing felt like a chapel in the earliest hours of dawn, resonating with an unspoken gratitude for the lullaby that had kept it so restful. Fionuala nodded softly, satisfied. She paused near the great pine ring, placing her hand on one of the broad trunks. The bark felt warm under her palm, evidence that life had awakened with the approach of morning. She sensed a gentle affirmation, as though the ancient pine acknowledged her efforts. She closed her eyes, letting that gratitude flow through her fingertips, and exhaled in a contented sigh. The forest's quiet promise remained. Even as the sun rose, that hush, that memory of the lullaby, would linger throughout the day. Creatures might stir from their slumber and stretch in the daylight, but the calm would stay in their hearts. The magic was not fleeting. It was part of nature itself, anchored in the land's unspoken vow to protect its own. Daylight crept in, and the birds that had dozed all night began their morning chorus. Soft chirps floated on the air, weaving a new tapestry of sound, this time bright and hopeful. But still, a gentleness persisted. The forest had awakened, yet the spirit of the lullaby stayed, soothing any anxieties that might arise, encouraging each creature to greet the day with peace. High above, the new sun lit the edges of drifting clouds in a gleaming aura. Shafts of golden light fell into the grove, painting stripes of brightness on the trunks. Somewhere deep in the underbrush, dew droplets trickled off leaves, pattering on stones with a light, melodic plink. Life, in all its wonder, was stirring to greet the new day. For Fionuala, this was the perfect conclusion to her nocturnal vigil, a promise that the woodland realm thrived, renewed by rest and lulled into unity by her ancient song. Though the lullaby had passed into memory, one could feel its essence lingering in each bird's chirp, each stirring leaf, each rustle of a small animal's steps on the forest floor. This was the continuation of harmony, the gentle echo that reminded everyone who lived there that they belonged to something bigger. A single, ever-present lullaby that the earth itself sang each day. And so, the nymph withdrew, her form becoming more and more ethereal as dawn advanced. Slivers of soft sunlight and the faint hum of morning insects accompanied her as she slipped deeper into the woods. She glided beyond sight, returning to her quiet sanctum with the satisfaction that the cycle was complete for yet another Earth Day. Yet the hush she brought would remain, carried in the hearts of all who had listened. Now, as this story draws near its close, you may feel the gentle weight of serenity wrapping around your thoughts. Notice the warmth along your limbs, the steady lull of your breathing. Perhaps you can still sense a faint echo of that lullaby, resonating through your chest, reminding you that rest is an ancient gift, always waiting when you need it. Let your mind drift, unhurried, towards the quiet edges of slumber. If any stray worries linger, allow them to float away like feathers on a breeze. This night is yours, a time of renewal and comfort. Embrace the hush of your own sacred grove, where the stillness of the forest glade dwells in your imagination. Feel your body sinking deeper into the soft cocoon of your bed, letting each muscle relax. Inhale slowly, hold the breath for a moment, then exhale gently. Visualize the dappled moonlight fading into dawn, the woodland creatures calmly stirring to greet the day. Know that you too carry within you the gentle power of that lullaby, a peaceful chord that can soothe and protect you through the darkest nights. Now, as your eyes grow heavier and the boundary between wakefulness and sleep becomes thin, accept the invitation to release all tension. Your heartbeat steadies. Each breath is a soft wave, lulling you into the deepest comfort. The hush you carry from the forest can remain with you as you drift into restful sleep. May this sense of calm stay at your side through the night, wrapping you in the gentle enchantment of a woodland nymph's lullaby. Good night, dear traveler. Sleep well